What's going on, everyone? So one of the things that the Lakers really need are gems, right? They need to find those guys, those cheap options, those diamond in the roughs, whether it's via trade, whether it's free agency signing. I've talked about like a DeAnthony Melton, who you're probably going to look at a vet minimum contract on because he's coming off of a significant injury that cost him all of last season. He's going to need a prove-it deal, right? Well, he's a guy that makes a ton of sense for the Lakers, is the ideal type of 3-and-D style guard that can make some plays for himself, make plays for others, knock down the three ball with some efficiency, but also be that point of attack versatile defensive player. Was great with the Warriors and then went down with injury, right? If he can regain any type of version of that, that would be massive for the Lakers, right? So these kind of prove-it deals, these little gems, again, I've talked about, if you pull off a Brooklyn Nets trade, can you maybe get a Zaire Williams in the deal? Or, can you maybe go get a Cam Whitmore? Young, versatile, athletic guys, or even kind of veteran guys, not like 36, 37, but guys that are, on the right side of 30 or maybe early 30s that, are veterans that can play a role, that have been consistent, that could maybe come in and just be a rotation piece, right? And one of the guys that I do think makes some sense, and we talked about him going into, the trade deadline and whatnot, and that is Stanley Johnson. Now, many of you might remember Stanley Johnson from the Lakers, was it the 2021 season? That was just like abysmal, right? That was when we had like Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard, and we got like Ariza back, and like it was a mess. We didn't even make the playoffs, right? And one of the one kind of outliers outside of like a Malik Monk was Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson was really good for us. And a lot of questions about the Lakers kind of unloaded him, right? Because he was really good for us. You talk about a 6'7", versatile wing that can, defend essentially 1 through 5, or not 1 through 5, but 3 through 5, right? Can defend some guards, right? He's got athleticism, he's got the foot speed, right? But very good defender, strong, physical, good lower center of gravity, right? And you look at like his stint when he went with the Spurs right after Lakers, he was actually like fantastic, like as a legit 3-and-D type of wing player. And even like San Antonio was kind of like, why did they just get rid of him? He was better for them than he was for us. And he was really good for us. But he was a guy that the Lakers signed to the G League team. And with the G League team, he actually had a really good stint. He didn't play like, a huge abundance. He only played 17 games, but averaged 15 points, as well as 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and half a block. And that was in 33.5 minutes per game. 2023-2024 season, he actually played 31 games, right? In which he shot 41% from 3-point range, and then grabbed 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, or 1 steal, 2 turnovers, half a block, and again, gave you a 14.2 points per game, right? And you look at when he was actually on the Lakers, right? Which, by the way, he's still 29 years old. He just turned 29 like a couple weeks ago. So again, a guy that's on the right side of 30, but you look at his last stint in the NBA, because like, what did he do in the NBA? Again, he was with the San Antonio Spurs and played 30 games. He averaged 15.6 minutes per game. He shot 53.3% from the field on 4.1 attempts. He shot 45% from 3-point range, right? Now, although it was on 1.3 attempts, still 45%. He shot 57.3% from 2-point range, had an EFG of 60.7%, grabbed 3 rebounds, 2.2 assists, half a steal, half a block, and 6 points per game. Where the stint with the Lakers, he played in 48 games, averaged 23 minutes per game, 5.2 attempts, 46.6% from the field. He shot 31.4% from 3-point range for us, which is why I said he was actually better for the Spurs than he was for the Lakers shooting the basketball. Shot 57.5% from 2-point range on 3 attempts, 52.2% EFG, shot 71.6% from the foul line for us, grabbed 3.2 rebounds, same as with the Spurs, 2 assists, a steal, half a block, and just under 7 points per game. Now, again, he is not like, I want to be clear about this, like he's not like the ideal, kick the door down, go get him, right? But again, Lakers are going to need cheap, versatile, athletic players that can come in, know the role, play the role, be those 3-and-D hustle players. Stanley Johnson can be that. That's what he was last go around for the Lakers. Right? That's why we liked him so much, because he was just like, he just did everything like really well for the Lakers, right? He was sacrificing his body, chasing down loose balls, creating turnovers, playing defense, knocking down the occasional three. Right? I'm not saying he's asked to shoot, 45% from 3-point range or anything like that. But if he could get to 36, 37% from 3-point range, but be that versatile defender that, again, can defend 3 through 5, and on occasion, the guard position as well. And just kind of, especially if the Lakers end up trading, kind of some of these wings. Right? If they end up trading a Jared Vanderbilt in a Rui Hachimura, right? To where it's like, okay, well, yeah, I hope that they end up getting, a guy in that, but can't have too many in abundance. And worst case scenario, at worst, he's the 15th guy on the bench that in a pinch you can throw out there and he can play basketball, right? Like, not everyone has to play 30 minutes a night. You need to fill out a roster. And I think Stanley Johnson could be one of those guys that could come in and fill out a roster. Right? Obviously, again, if you can get a more proven guy, if you can get a guy that, maybe has a more experience or whatnot, but again, it's hard. Like, how many players are willing to take, a significant discount to go and play for the Lakers? Usually those guys are either prove-it guys that are like, like I said, a DeAnthony Melton, who's like, hey, I'm going to get a vet minimum anyway. Might as well go to the Lakers and see if I can create something there. Get the spotlight shined on me, right? Or a scenario like a Malik Monk, where it's like, hey, I'm getting, $5 to $8 million offers in these areas, but like, let me go take a vet minimum for a year, bet on myself, and then I can get the bag like he did with Sacramento, right? So outside of that, you're looking for these kind of guys. You're looking for the undrafted guy to come in and just be a development guy, or, that guy that is, a free agent that hasn't played in a year or whatever, right? Like, at least Stanley Johnson has been playing. He's been playing in the G League. He's been playing with the affiliate team. So, he's kind of in the Lakers ecosystem and whatnot. He's a guy that I think could just come in and give you that, right? Like, again, I'm not expecting him to be, a 30-minute-a-game guy, come in, start alongside. Like, no, nothing like that. But just, can he give us 10 minutes a night where he's just giving us just hard-nosed defense, getting after it, rebounding the basketball, getting a steal, hitting, the occasional three or whatever with some level of consistency. If you can give me something like that, that's perfect, right? Again, he might not even be in the rotation come playoff time, but you're going to have 7 guys that aren't, right? Like, usually you're only going to run 8 or 9 guys. So you're going to have 6 to 7 guys that aren't going to be part of the rotation regardless, right? So if you're the Lakers, if you can find that guy or two, I think you should do that, right? And I look at a guy like a Stanley Johnson, I'm like, hey, he might be, he's big, physical, strong, athletic type of two-way wing, 3-and-D style wing that we need. That's going to be dirt cheap, that you're going to need you're going to have to kind of take a flyer on some guys. I don't hate the idea of taking a flyer on a Stanley Johnson, but let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.